Is trust in the American workplace dropping? Let's find out. Welcome to another edition of Shine 365, where our job is to help you lead a better life. Today we'll be reviewing an article by The Atlantic entitled Work Life, The End of Trust by Jeremy Usum. Virtually every commercial transaction in the world has within itself an element of trust. But trust is less quantifiable than other forms of capital, and its decline is vaguely felt before it's actually seen. As more and more companies have gone virtual during the pandemic, supervisors wonder whether their remote workers are in fact working. New colleagues arrive and leave without ever having met. There are lots of workers who got hired by companies and have never left their home. And the longer employees are apart from one another, some never meeting each other, some people just don't trust each other. And if you're doing a Zoom meeting, how much do you really know about what's going on in the other person's home office? Do people trust each other in this day and age? In March of 2020, trust levels were still fairly high. That was the start of the pandemic. But by May, they had slipped. And by October, 7 months into the pandemic, the employees' degree of confidence and trust in one another was down substantially. Another survey by the Center for Transformative Work Design in Australia found that bosses have trust issues too. About 60% of supervisors doubted or were unsure that remote workers performed as well or were even as motivated as they once were in the office. We may be in the midst of a business trust recession. Trust is to capitalism what alcohol is to wedding receptions. It's a social lubricant. In low-trust societies, think maybe Russia, southern Italy, economic growth is constrained. People who don't trust other people think twice before investing in or collaborating with or hiring someone who isn't maybe a family member. The economists Paul Zak and Stephen Knack found in a study published in 1998 that a 15% bump in a nation's belief that most people can be trusted adds a full percentage point to economic growth each year. In the late 19th century, it was highly sociable Americans who developed the first large-scale corporations, effectively pooling all their ideas together, all their efforts and all their interests of a group of strangers. People got together, they worked together, they didn't know each other, but they became colleagues, teammates, and they trusted each other and things got done. But there have been leaks in the trust reservoir, and that started in the late 70s. Trust in government dropped from its peak in 1964 and has never came back fully. You can tell just by looking at the news that there are a number of trust issues with Americans. According to a Pew poll, half of all Americans believe trust is down because Americans are just not as reliable as they used to be. This is what the Pew poll said. These studies of suspicious Zoom workers suggest the trust recession is only getting worse. And if you look at statistics, by October 2021, just 13% of Americans were still working from home. And this is because companies were not trusting that the work was being done properly. By the late 19th century, it was evident that some jobs were just too crucial to leave to a loose association of tradespeople. If the mill had to be running full steam at all hours of the day and night, you needed to know who could handle the assembly line, who could fix the gasket, and above all, who would reliably show up day after day, night after night. Then you needed these people legally incorporated into one body and bound by the norms, attitudes, and expectations baked into the culture of that body. And I find that with my current job, that is exactly the way it works. Because we're a team, and we all have specialties, and we work together to create a finished product. And if one of us is not doing our job correctly, or if one of us does not trust another to do the job correctly, we will all fail. So trust is very important. Trust matters. How can you earn other people's trust? Be reliable. Step up to the plate day after day. Get to know other people. Socialize a little bit out of work. These are all things that build up trust, and we need trust in our society. You see, trust brings us together, and more trust is something we need in the future. I'd love to hear your comments about trust and how important it is to you. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please give us a like, subscribe, and share. And as always, we'll see you next time on Shine 365.